We have Aaron Rodgers and Cam Hayward post-game press conferences after our Week 3 game versus the New England Patriots. Let's see what they had to say, and then after this, we'll be going to the locker room to see what other players had to say.
In particular, to throw to Calvin after the game?
Yeah, we had to have a drive there, so guys made some plays. Thought an important play was the screen there, Kenny cutting it back inside to give us a third and manageable. And then we actually just talked about that in the huddle before the drive, about just a subtle signal on what I might want if I gave that when Cal was on the other side. So it was nice he was in the same page. I didn't throw the best ball, but Cal's so damn fast. You know, he made a great play.
What was that subtle signal?
It's probably on the TV copy. Everything is these days.
No one else?
Aaron, when you're not taking advantage of opportunities, what's keeping you guys confident or getting you through those chances for that last drive to be right?
Just our defense, honestly. I mean, there was urgency. I think, you know, it was one of those weird disjointed games. We had 3 possessions in the first half. We had a chance on the third possession to keep it going. Pat and I weren't on the same page on the scramble drill. Then we sat on the bench for what seemed to be 20 or 30 minutes. So we just couldn't get into a rhythm at all. And we came out second half and made a terrible throw. Defense just kind of stood on their head all day. But, you know, I thought the first 2 drives were really good rhythm-wise, and we just couldn't find that rhythm in the second half.
There you get it at the end, though. What's that say about the offense resiliency, stick to it immensely?
I mean, it's what we're supposed to do. You know, we got to make those plays. So we're not in those positions. You know, 14-0, we're feeling pretty damn good about ourselves. You know, we haven't been ahead by 2 scores yet, and 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, starting fast for the 3rd straight week. But, you know, I just didn't play great, and we kind of lost our rhythm, had too many penalties and negative yardage plays, and didn't make them pay when we had opportunities.
Is there something about the Patriots' defense you found especially challenging?
Well, I mean, they throw a lot of different things at you. I felt like they were kind of in a 2-shell to start the game. We kind of ran it at them pretty good the first couple of drives, and they adjusted, and we just didn't make enough plays. You know, we had some penalties, had some bad throws, and but they played kind of how we thought they were going to play. They're a tough group. They're well coached, and they were sticky in coverage.
Obviously, Marvin Rivers put some milestones today. Where does that rank on the list of accomplishments for you today?
I mean, not super duper high. You know, it means I played a long time. I grew up and, you know, Niners quarterbacks were my favorite, and then Brett, and then I got to play with Brett. I was drafted the year after Phil Rivers.
And Ben.
Had a friendship through the game with him for years. Loved watching Phil play. You know, just his mannerisms, his lack of swearing, trash talk. You know, Phil was one guy I really enjoyed watching on tape, and the only guy to get out of the Pro Bowl with an excuse that he had his 8th or 9th kid, I think, right before that. So good to be mentioned with those guys.
Aaron, what's it like to see when a guy like Jabril Peppers gets to come face his old team and make a big impact playing a game like that?
Well, I think as former players, when you're playing former teams, that's what you want. You want to make a big play and make them, you know, think about what they lost. So, you know, there's always that. You know, every single week there's a guy that's facing his former team probably, and you'd like to get him the ball or like to, you know, have him make some plays. But he was definitely happy in the locker room. Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Anyone else?
Aaron, entering the game, New England led the league in sacks. Your offensive line didn't give up any in that. Talk about maybe the growth that you've seen in this young unit over the first couple weeks to today.
Well, it's a group effort, and I've tried to take accountability the last couple weeks on sacks that were probably my fault. Today I moved around just enough. You know, there's some things to clean up, but I have a lot of confidence in those guys. I thought Art did a good job keeping them off balance with some different protection schemes and some moving the pocket stuff. But yeah, I thought those guys played well. There was, you know, they were a little upset after last week, and I thought they played with a better attitude this week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Cam coming in.
I was not aware that the Steelers only had 3 drives in the first half. So Sunday, I really didn't watch the game. I listened to it, but I didn't watch the game because my dad and I were fixing my chimney. It had some spots where bricks had either worn away or like had chipped out. So you don't want moisture getting in and all that. So we had to patch up some stuff. So I didn't watch the game. I listened, so I was generally aware of some stuff, right? Not everything, but some stuff, like fumble or an interception, touchdown, like stuff like that. But as far as penalties, big plays, anything like that, I really wasn't too into it. Third down conversions, stuff like that. So I was not aware that they only had 3. And that is because now that I haven't even watched the game. I have it recorded on Hulu. I haven't even watched the game. But I've seen like the highlight video the NFL puts out. I know that the Patriots went for it on 4th down before the final time where they didn't get it 4 times, and they got all 4. Now, I don't know how many of those were in the first half. I couldn't tell you. I know one, I think it might have been the first half, was from like inside their own 20 or something like that. Close to that. That was probably a 4th and 1 or something. And I think it was Cole Holcomb was literally in the backfield, could have made a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and just got like juked out by, I don't know if it was Stevenson, Henderson, whoever. But then they got like a good gain out of it. So it's just, think about if the Patriots don't go 4 for 4 on 4th down, or if they just don't try the 4th down. You know, do the Steelers have more drives? Do the Steelers score more points? Everything has context, right? That's why the Eagles are so hard to stop and why they possess the ball so well. Because it gets the 4th and 1 and they just push it. Like, okay, so now instead of a 1st and 10, it's really 1st and 9.
Key takeaways down by the goal line, both of you guys are panned
I just think for our group, we talk about we don't care how we get on the field, we don't care the situation, we got to find a way to get off the field. We do a good job of studying our opponents, looking for ways to create turnovers, and we preached all week that we're going to have some opportunities to punch at that ball. That was very apparent today, and then. In the quick pass, you can't always be a rusher. You got to get your hands up and result in an interception.
Mike said that during the week you talked about Stevenson's his fumble issues last year, and that was a kind of a point of emphasis.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
100%. We, from Wednesday on, or probably Tuesday on, we were very steadfast about creating turnovers. I think Stevenson had 14 going in. May had some. Four also had some. So we were very
Gibson.
locked in on that, and it paid dividends then.
Acted having Derek in there. Take you guys.
Yeah, I thought Derek played very well. He's got strong hands. I was worried about his conditioning, but he came to play today, and I think it really balanced out our group, especially with Lau going down. So. To get him back in the flow, he's just going to keep getting better. I think it creates for something we can build on.
You guys got so many different combinations in the secondary. What is those 2 plays that he made? Can you speak to just the pick and that tackle at the end?
I think it just speaks to being ready for your moments. Injuries are part of this game. You might be thrust in there, but it's on you to be ready. And we appreciate BE being ready for that moment. He talks about it in practice. He preaches just being ready, and it showed out today.
What's just your overall impression of the Patriots offense and Drake May?
They moved the ball well. You know, I thought we were able to create some turnovers that really mitigated that. You know, Drake May has got a bright future. I've always had a lot of respect for him. You know, and I think I'm always a Ohio State guy, so Henderson, you know, bittersweet that he had some, you know, some good plays on us, but you know, I think their offense is moving in the right direction. Glad we were able to get the W here.
And what were the issues on 3rd and 4th down?
3rd and 4th down. You know, I think sometimes we were, you know, not paying attention to our assignments. Sometimes you can get a little thirsty in there and think it's just going to be, you know, a sneak or two. But then, you know, on the flip side, it can, you know, make you susceptible to big passes. And, you know, we got to have our eyes in the right places. And, you know, this is something we can learn from.
Today coming back against his old team?
A lot. I think he enjoyed it a lot. You know, we always talk about getting petty ball. But, you know, wherever we go, we usually plan to get somebody. I think Jonnu got another, you know, petty ball as well. So Jonnu's played for everybody. But, you know, I think when we have these guys that have played elsewhere and are welcoming themselves to the Steelers, it's really special for us to get the W for them.
At the end of the half, when you guys got that interception in the end zone, they were on the 2-yard line. They threw 3 straight times. That didn't surprise you guys at all?
Not surprising. There were formations that, you know, screen more pass than run. And, you know, I thought we were stout for the most part besides the big QB run they had. But, yeah, ready for any moment.
But how do you feel you played?
Just building. We're not a finished product. You know, we talk about not riding the roller coaster, win or loss. This is something we can continue to keep improving on. And, you know, I think it's great for our younger guys, even better for our older guys, because we got a lot of work to do. But, you know, I'd rather be 2-1 than 1-2.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
All right. So, I mean, if my analysis isn't great, like I said in the Tomlin video, I've been sick. So, if my analysis is not great, that is why. I'm going to blame it on being sick and not having, say, all the information or not being able to completely formulate it in my head. Because after Aaron spoke, I went blank. I cut it out for you guys, but I just went blank. And I'm like, I have nothing. So, just excuse me if that happens at all, okay? So he brought up Harmon. I think Tomlin talked about him too. Just his conditioning and how he played. And I have issues with some fans who will go and say, same old Steelers, nothing ever changes. What are they even doing in practice? Right? Cam said they knew Patriots players had a fumbling issue. So what did they focus on this week? Getting fumbles. And it worked. But is anyone ever going to bring that up? Probably not. When something bad happens, it's, well, what were you practicing all week? Right? And for a while, the Steelers always had slow starts. And then they would adjust at halftime. And they had literally like the best third quarter point differential in the entire NFL. They would adjust at half, have a great third quarter, but it was only because you had a crappy first quarter, right? You had like the worst point differential in the first quarter and the best in the third. Now, we have a good fast start to these games, right? Our opening drive in every single game has led to a score. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown. Not only that, we scored 2 touchdowns on our first 2 drives. So we're up 14-0. Now, granted, there's a lot in the middle that is to be desired. And then you finish strong. And that's what Coach Cowher used to say. Start fast, finish strong. In the middle, you got to figure that shit out. And they know that. So, they know what they need to do. And it's not instant, but they're going to work on it. They're going to work on getting better at stuff. And Cam said, on like some of those 4th and 1s, where you get a little happy, and you try to do a little too much, thinking, oh, it's just going to be tush push or quarterback sneak or run up the middle, and then it's, shit. And it's all the way on the outside because it's a screen pass that he's going to take for 10 yards. Or they're going to pass it over the middle. Like, it happens. They're going to get better. Let's go to the locker room.
Left hand to the right hand in that last one.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we knew those guys were ball search victims all week. They had a lot of fumbles on tape. And anytime you emphasize that throughout the week, it needs to show up in the game, and that's what you saw today.
I guess anytime you have 5 turnovers, it's a pretty good day. At least should be.
I mean, yeah, there's going to be a lot of good film to watch in this. Obviously, we've had some pretty rough performances the first couple weeks, and today was a much better performance, but there's still a lot of room to grow.
3rd and longs. What do you think the issues have been for you guys? It seems like that's the one area that's been a struggle lately.
I think it's just a matter of working together. You know, Russian coverage has to work together, and we need to get home. And I thought the guys in the back end did a good job of covering to allow us to be able to get to those quarterbacks, especially in some max pro situations, especially at the end there. But we got to do better, of course.
This one feel a little better?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I needed this one. I thank each and every man coaching here. You know, we had a great week of work, great prep. And yeah, it feels good right now. I'm not going to lie.
A good day when you guys can manage 5 turnovers for this group here.
Absolutely.
What was that like being able to do that?
I mean, that's been the DNA here since, you know, the 70s, 60s, and beyond that. You know, they implemented rules because of the steel curtain, you know what I mean, to help offenses out. So, you know, I'm just happy to be a part of it. You know, I'm just going to try to
Mel
be a star
Blunt's
in
one
my
of
role,
those.
whatever that role is, week in and week out. You know, lean on the guys, and, you know, we got a lot to clean up. But
how much is your institution of knowledge of the offense going against this week help this week?
You know, it definitely helps you play faster. You know, let your instincts take over. But, you know, it's still a lot to work on, but it's good making corrections after a win.
You get a game ball for this one, bro?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So with that touchdown, Calvin, what are you thinking? Like he said earlier that early this week that fits in. What are you thinking when he gets out there? Yeah.
You said what?
What are you thinking when he gets that touchdown?
I mean, he was built for it. You know, Aaron went to the open guy, and he killed the guy off the line of scrimmage, and, you know, he was able to catch the touchdown.
What's missing from the offense right now? What's necessary for that rhythm to show?
I mean, I don't know. I can give you an answer to that after we watch film, but I'm about to enjoy this win right now.
Stay locked in, and as an offense, to start off hot and then things get cold for a couple quarters, and then be able to come back.
Just being able to execute, even when, you know, things aren't going our way on 1st and 2nd down, just execute on 3rd down and being able to stay on the field.
DK, sometimes when offenses struggle, can you feed up the defense? I mean, they had 5 turnovers today, and you guys got back out there and were able to score in that last one.
Yeah, most definitely. Without the defense, we definitely wouldn't be sitting in this locker room, you know, cheering or happy that we got a win. So, you know, big shout out to the defense for, you know, just creating 5 turnovers. And 2 of them were definitely in the red zone where they could have gotten 6 points easily.
No, it was a full, you know, a full play call. 8 gave me, you know, a little signal that we were on the same page and converted.
Calvin, after the same page, how good did that feel after you guys have had some misconnections in the last few weeks?
I think it was just, you know, with this game and stuff, you're going to have, you know, some ups and downs and stuff, but I think it's the biggest thing was just, you know, this week, we continued to be ourselves, continue to communicate, and then there was no panic at all from the last game, and so, you know, you get in moments like this, and it's just about you just go back to your training and just got to go back to fundamentals, because that's all that was, just basic fundamentals right there.
Even when he came running after you, Kevin, did you see Aaron Rodgers? He came running after you after you scored. Did it surprise you at all? Did you expect that?
Oh, yeah. I think after the first one I scored versus the Jets, he was one of the first people over there. So, I mean, that's the thing with this. Like, stuff happens, but, like, we see each other every day. So it's like, it's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's on to the next. So I wasn't surprised at all.
After the struggles there for a couple quarters, were you guys able to feed off the defense and, you know, the 5 turnovers, especially that last one, which led to your touchdown?
Yeah, most definitely. The defense, obviously, you know, came up extremely big, and each of those moments where they were getting those turnovers, obviously you want to convert on all of them because we wouldn't be in this type of game. But, you know, sometimes there's games like this, and, you know, as Coach T says, like, you know, sometimes you may not win pretty, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's just about, at the end of the day, executing at the end.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it got tilted, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, it got tilted, and, you know, shout out to Cam on it.
Did that change the trajectory of it or the speed of the ball or anything? Could you tell?
No, not that I remember. Like I said, it was kind of like a blur. I barely remember what happened. Like, I blank out sometimes in the middle of the play, so it'd be like that.
How do you just evaluate this game where you guys forced turnovers but then gave up a fair number of yards?
No, we just go back. You know, the biggest thing is coming out with the win. You know, we come back tomorrow, see what we did wrong. Because obviously, you know, we can win when we really want to. We just got to, you know, step up, look at what we need to fix, and get it fixed.
All right. So I'm sure that's great for Peppers to get that win. He really wanted it after being cut by the Patriots, and that's the thing. Like, sometimes it's just that little bit of extra motivation, right? I did just get a notification from the Steelers saying that Alex Highsmith will not be making the flight with the Steelers to Ireland and has officially been ruled out. So, Alex is staying in the States, and he ain't going nowhere. He'll be watching the game from home, just like us all. So, and then as far as, like, Calvin, like, it's cool to hear that Aaron, like, runs over to go and celebrate with him. Now, I know Ben, he would celebrate with the offensive line. Those were his boys, right? And I'm sure Aaron knows, like, if these guys don't protect long enough for me to get this ball out, then nothing happens. I'm sure Aaron knows that. But, you know, some guys want to go celebrate with whoever. And I saw on the touchdown to DK, Aaron did celebrate with the offensive line a bit. Broderick, I think Mason. Who else? Was it? I'm trying to remember. I think it was 3. I just don't remember who the third guy was. But he did celebrate with, like, some old linemen. I'm surprised TJ didn't get called for taunting when he recovered that one fumble forced by Nick. And he had the ball and he went, haha, I have it now. Like, he literally was looking right at the Patriots and shook the ball. Like, na. And I'm so surprised he didn't get called for taunting. Or at least I'm not aware that he got called for taunting. So, if you guys did enjoy this, please do leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.